Play this while you sleep to release the weight you've carried for far too long. Listen tonight and allow the ancient river within you to reverse its flow, returning every forgotten piece of your energy back to the light. This is not a story you found by chance. This is a remembering, a calling, a quiet pull from a place inside you that has waited years for your permission to finally heal. The river that flows backwards. When you forgive yourself is not a metaphor. It is a law of energy that only reveals itself to those who are ready to stop fighting their own past. When you close your eyes tonight, the current of memory begins to shift. What once pulled you downward will begin to rise. What once held you in guilt will soften into clarity. What once felt heavy will release like mist above water. As you fall asleep with this playing, your subconscious will begin the journey your waking mind has avoided. You will feel the quiet rearrangement of old stories dissolving. You will feel the soft return of strength you thought you had lost. You will hear the river turning, drop by drop, thought by thought, memory by memory. This is the moment the tide reverses. This is the night the past loses power. This is where forgiveness becomes a doorway, and the river begins to carry you home. There is a place inside you that very few have ever entered, a quiet chamber where the echoes of your past collect like water in a forgotten basin. You may not visit it often, but it has been waiting for you every night, just beyond the threshold of sleep. And tonight, as you listen, that threshold begins to soften. The walls of your awareness loosen. The distance between the life you lived and the life you long for begins to dissolve. You are not here by coincidence. You were called, summoned by a truth that has followed you through every version of yourself, whispering that the time has come to finally let go. As your eyes grow heavy, imagine standing at the edge of a river that feels familiar in a way you cannot explain. The air around it carries the scent of memories you once tried to bury. You recognize them, not with fear, but with a deep exhale that comes from knowing you no longer have to run. Every sound in this place is muted, as if the world itself has stepped back to give you space. The water does not rush. It listens. It waits, just as it has always waited for you to return, with enough softness to understand its message. You are not broken. You are not too late. You are chosen. This moment, this night, this river, they exist because your soul asked for them. In the quiet space between your breaths, the world around you begins to shimmer, revealing the hidden architecture of healing that has always existed beneath your pain. There are no mistakes here, no accidents. The timing is exact, aligned with a wisdom older than words. And as sleep begins to draw its gentle curtain over your body, something ancient stirs within you, like a forgotten language rising back to the surface. When you breathe in, feel the weight you've carried for so long loosening its grip. When you breathe out, notice how the river responds, as though your exhale is a key turning in a door you cannot yet see. The energy around you thickens, warm and luminous, wrapping itself around you like a cloak woven from every moment you survived. You are safe here. You are seen. You are held by something vast and patient, something that has waited for years for you to rest long enough for the healing to begin. As the night deepens, feel the subtle pull beneath your feet, the unmistakable sensation of something shifting in the unseen. The river begins to glow with soft, silver light, revealing currents that move not forward, but inward. Everything you thought was lost begins to rise from the depths. Every forgotten strength, every silenced part of you, every piece of your story that was buried under guilt, each one returns, carried upward by the reversing flow. And as you drift deeper into sleep, sense the presence of a gatekeeper standing quietly behind you, not a guardian of fear, but of remembrance. They do not speak, yet you feel their message as clearly as if it were carved into your bones. Forgiveness is not a release of the past. It is a return to yourself. Their presence is calm, ancient, and steady, guiding you closer to the river's edge, inviting you to witness the sacred transformation that only happens when the mind sleeps and the soul awakens. Tonight, As your body surrenders to rest, the river prepares to rewrite the story held within your cells. Old agreements will dissolve. Old patterns will unravel. Old wounds will soften like clay meeting warm hands. The water will not erase you. It will reveal you. And as you slip further into the gentle dark, the river waits for your permission to begin its backward flow, ready to carry you back to the moment before the pain, before the self-blame, before the weight you did not deserve. You are safe. You are chosen. You are remembered. There is a truth that ancient mystics tried to describe, a truth so subtle and so intimate that they hid it in stories about water, memory, and light. They said that inside every human being flows an invisible river, formed from every thought ever held, every feeling ever silenced, every choice ever carried. This river does not move through the world. It moves through the subconscious, shaping the landscape of your inner reality with currents that are older than your name. Most people never learn to see it. Fewer still learn to enter it. And almost no one knows that this river, under the right conditions, can reverse its flow. To understand this river, you must first understand how memory lives within you. Memory is not simply a story your mind tells you. It is a frequency, a vibration that settles into your nervous system, into your breath, into the unspoken agreements you unknowingly made with yourself. You may believe that the past is gone, that time has carried it away like leaves drifting downstream, but the past persists as energy, suspended like sediment at the bottom of this inner river. It collects in layers, forming patterns that guide your choices, shaping the quiet voice inside you that says, "You must carry this, even when the burden was never meant for you." This river is not a myth. It is a law of your inner world. When you feel weighed down by guilt, it is because the river has slowed. When you feel trapped in old stories, it is because the river has pooled into stagnant corners. When you relive the same wounds in different forms, it is because the currents have carved loops that circle back upon themselves. Until you learn to shift its direction, the river moves only one way, forward, dragging every unresolved moment with it into your present. But there is a phenomenon that occurs only when the soul reaches a certain threshold of readiness, when the pain is acknowledged instead of suppressed, when the self is seen instead of punished, when the heart softens just enough to whisper the truth it has long avoided. Forgiveness is not a feeling. It is not an idea. Forgiveness is the exact frequency that causes the river to change direction. Imagine standing at its edge now as the night deepens around you. The water is dark, reflecting pieces of the sky like scattered fragments of an old dream. You watch as images flicker across the surface, moments that shaped you, moments you wish you could rewrite, moments you tried to forget. They drift forward in the current, pulled by a force that seems relentless. But then something shifts. A breath, a realization, a moment of clarity that settles into your bones like warm light. The river trembles, the surface tightens, and for the first time, you feel the subtle pull of a different motion rising beneath your feet. The river begins to pull backward, not violently, not suddenly. It shifts the way dawn appears at the edge of the horizon, gently, quietly, undeniably. You watch as memories that once haunted you begin to drift in reverse, sliding away from your present, unhooking themselves from the story you have told yourself about who you are. The guilt that tightened your chest begins to loosen. The regret that whispered you were unworthy begins to dim. The heaviness you carried begins to lift, not because the past has changed, but because your relationship to it has. This is the law of the reversing river. When you forgive yourself, the energy of the past no longer flows into your future. It returns to its origin, to the moment where the wound began, to the place where it can dissolve in the light of understanding rather than the darkness of self-blame. The river carries it back, like ink slowly withdrawing from paper, leaving behind only the faintest memory that something once existed there. Forgiveness does not alter the history of what happened. It alters the gravity of what happened. It removes the weight from your present reality. It reclaims the pieces of your power that were trapped in past versions of you. Each time the current reverses, another fragment of your energy rises from the depths, returning to your body like a long-lost ember of light. You begin to feel whole, not because you have forgotten, but because you have forgiven the part of you that didn't know better, didn't know how to navigate the world, didn't know how to protect itself. As you sink deeper into the rhythm of this chapter, imagine the river as a living being that responds to every shift in your consciousness. When you speak harshly to yourself, it contracts. When you replay old mistakes, it thickens. When you punish yourself for things you cannot change, it drags you forward into echoes of the same pain. But when you whisper the gentle truth, "I forgive you," the river expands, softens, and begins to glow from within. The water becomes clearer, revealing stones beneath the surface that have been hidden by years of emotional silt. You begin to see things as they truly were, not as your guilt taught you to remember them. Every thought you carry is a seed planted in your reality. Every belief is a tide that shapes the continent of your inner world. When you forgive yourself, you pull out the roots of old narratives. You drain the weight from old memories. You allow the river to carry away the silt that clouded your inner vision. And as the current flows backward, something extraordinary happens. You meet the younger version of yourself standing at the source of the river. You do not judge them. You do not correct them. You simply hold them in your arms, letting the river wrap around you both, like warm light returning to its origin. In that moment, the past is rewritten, not as a new event, but as a new understanding. And the river, flowing backward, seals this understanding into your subconscious as you sleep. This is the beginning of healing. This is the first reversal. This is the law that all souls must eventually learn if they are ever to walk freely into the life they were meant to live. There comes a moment on every healing path when the world outside begins to fade. Not because it becomes less real, but because your inner world finally steps forward to take its rightful place at the center of your awareness. Tonight, as the darkness around you thickens with its soft, velvety calm, you feel the shift. You feel the thin membrane between waking and dreaming begin to dissolve. And as it does, something ancient within you stirs, guiding you toward the river that has followed you since the beginning of your life. Breathe slowly. With each breath, let the space behind your thoughts expand just a little more. With each exhale, allow the weight on your shoulders to melt into the air around you. The night is not here to judge you. It is here to carry you. And the river, illuminated by the faint glow of a moon that seems to exist only for you, waits with the patience of something that has all the time in the world. As you take another slow breath, imagine the river widening before your closed eyes. The water glimmers with shifting patterns of silver and soft blue, moving in currents that seem both familiar and impossibly otherworldly. You step closer, feeling the ground beneath you soften like warm sand. The air hums faintly, a low vibration that resonates in your chest as though some hidden chord of your soul is being struck for the first time in years. This river does not ask for proof of your worth. It does not ask for apologies or explanations. It asks only for your presence. It asks only for the truth of where you are right now. Not the story you tell the world, not the mask you wear to appear strong, but the quieter truth beneath all of it. The part of you that longs to be held without judgment. The part of you that has waited too long to feel safe. As you stand at the edge, your subconscious begins to open like a forgotten gate. You feel the subtle shift in your inner landscape, the soft emergence of memories rising like distant lanterns in the dark. They do not come to overwhelm you. They come because they recognize that you are finally able to meet them with compassion instead of fear. The river senses this, and the current responds. The surface begins to tremble, as though awakening from a long sleep. You kneel beside the water, and as your fingers hover above the surface, you feel the cool breath of the river brush against your skin. It is not cold, but clarifying. Not forceful, but precise. You close your eyes. A single drop of water lifts itself into the air, held aloft by a force you cannot see. It hovers just above your palm, shimmering with the reflected light of old memories. When it touches your skin, it spreads like warmth through your nervous system, and suddenly, you see it. A memory rises, not a random one, not the one you feared most, but the one that has been silently shaping your life from below the surface. The river brings it gently, showing it to you the way a mother might show a child the shell of a creature that once lived by the shore. Delicate, harmless, no longer capable of hurting you. The moment appears clearly. The expression on your face, the weight you carried, the choice you made because you didn't know any other way to survive. And for the first time, instead of tightening, your heart expands. You understand now. The river ripples, as if acknowledging your realization. It draws the memory back into its depth, folding it gently into the current that begins, once again, to shift in direction. The reversing flow grows stronger, more luminous, pulling not with force, but with an irresistible grace that feels like the world finally exhaling. With each passing moment, you feel yourself being drawn inward, deeper into the body of the river. Your feet step into the water, and it rises around your ankles with a warmth that contradicts every expectation. The sensation is soothing, like stepping into light made liquid. The vibration hums stronger now, embracing your calves, your knees, your thighs, until your entire lower body is submerged in this radiant, living stream. The water does not push you forward. It invites you backward, back into the places within you that were abandoned, overlooked, or left behind. As you sink deeper, the river begins to show you how your energy formed its patterns. You see moments where you hardened your heart to survive. You see the times you swallowed your truth because you believed silence was safer. You see the nights you blamed yourself for things you were never meant to carry. And with each revelation, the river retracts the threads that once tied those memories to your present self. You are not reliving the past. You are unbinding it. The water rises to your chest, and with each breath, you feel the river sinking with your heartbeat. Every contraction of your heart releases a pulse into the water. Every pulse returns to you with a new message, a new understanding, a new level of clarity. It is as though the river is translating your pain into a language your soul can finally comprehend. The deeper you go, the more you sense the presence of the gatekeeper, the silent guardian from the introduction. They stand on the opposite bank now, watching you not with authority, but with an almost parental tenderness. They raise a hand, and the river responds. The surface glows brighter, revealing a path beneath the water. A path made not of stones or earth, but of memory itself. You step forward. With each step, you feel yourself moving, not through water, but through layers of your own story. The river thickens around you like a soft mist of emotion. Every step backward in the current feels like a step deeper into your own truth. And then, suddenly, you see it, a younger version of yourself, standing on the submerged path. They turn, their eyes reflecting confusion, pain, innocence, longing. Everything you once carried without knowing how to hold it. You reach out your hand. They hesitate, but only for a moment. And when they place their hand in yours, the river brightens with a brilliant, liquid light that pulses outward in waves, carrying fragments of your forgotten strength into the night air. The younger you dissolves into your chest, merging not as a ghost, but as a missing part of your identity returning home. It is then that the river fully reverses. The current pulls upward, drawing energy not away from you, but toward you. Old beliefs break apart like flakes of ash. Old shame melts into nothingness. Old identities, old narratives, old versions of yourself are carried upward through the river's glowing currents, rising toward a sky that has silently watched over every moment of your healing. You stand in the center of the river, bathed in light, feeling the backward flow gather strength until it becomes a soft roar within your subconscious. This is not chaos, it is restoration. It is the return of everything that was ever yours. And as the night deepens around you, as you drift further into the realm between dreaming and remembering, you hear the quiet voice of your inner world whisper, It's not your thoughts. It's your agreement with them. A truth so simple, so ancient, that it unravels the knots you have carried for years. The river embraces it, carries it, amplifies it, and releases it into your body like a new pulse of life. Tonight, you are not drowning. You are returning. There is a moment in every inner journey when understanding becomes embodiment, when knowledge shifts from something you think to something you feel in every breath, every cell, every quiet pulse beneath your skin. Tonight, as you float within the reversing river, the boundary between who you were and who you are becoming begins to blur. You are no longer simply observing the movement of your inner world. You are participating in it. You are shaping it. You are dissolving into it. And it is in this dissolution that transformation begins. The river holds you gently, as though it has memorized the shape of your being across lifetimes. It rises and falls with your breath, synchronizing itself to your heartbeat, the way the moon synchronizes the ocean tides. The water curls around your ribs, glowing softly, illuminating the stories stored within your body. You feel it first in your chest, a loosening, a release, a warmth spreading outward like a candle, lighting the walls of a forgotten room. This warmth is not imagined. It is the physical sensation of your nervous system letting go of something it has held for too long. Forgiveness is not a mental choice. It is a cellular one. Your body remembers everything your mind has tried to move past. Every moment of self-blame has lodged itself in your muscles, your breath, your posture, the pace at which you allow yourself to rest. Every unfinished chapter of your past carved patterns into your being. And now, as the river flows backward, these patterns begin to dissolve, not in fragments, but in waves. You feel the sensation of old energy lifting, moving upward through your throat, rising like a tide of warmth behind your sternum, releasing itself into the river with the soft crackle of something ancient breaking open. You breathe in, the river expands. You breathe out, the river brightens. With each breath, your inner landscape rearranges itself. You feel the subtle shift in your spine, the way your shoulders soften, the way your jaw releases tension you didn't know you were holding. The river moves into every place the world ever told you to be small. It moves into every part of you that hid, curled inward, or apologized for existing. And as it moves, it rewrites the codes that once dictated your reality. This is the alchemy of self-forgiveness, the process by which energy, held in darkness, is converted into light. The river pulls you deeper, carrying you down a narrow corridor of water that glows with a pale, golden radiance. Above you, the sky shifts into a tapestry of dim stars, scattered like ancient symbols across a black silk dome. You sense that these stars are watching you, not as distant celestial bodies, but as witnesses to your evolution. They shimmer with recognition, as though they have seen this moment many times in many lifetimes, each time a soul chose to return to itself. The water level rises to your collarbones, warm and rhythmic, and suddenly you feel something stirring in the base of your spine, a quiet tremor of recognition. It is the place where fear once lodged itself, convincing you to control, to shrink, to brace for pain that no longer exists. As the river touches this part of you, it softens. The fear unwinds like an untied knot. A wave of warmth shoots upward along your spine, spreading into the back of your heart, into your throat, into your temples. You realize then that forgiveness is not simply release. It is expansion. You had folded yourself to survive. Now you unfold. You had dimmed yourself to avoid pain. Now you rise. You had abandoned yourself to stay safe. Now you return. The river carries memories upward into the sky like glowing droplets. Moments in your life that once held you captive now float above you, losing their weight, losing their sharpness. You watch them dissolve into light, one by one, as if the universe itself is absorbing them and returning their energy to the source. You understand suddenly that you were never meant to carry these alone. Life did not ask you to be your own punishment. It asked you to learn, and learning requires compassion far more than it requires judgment. You step deeper into the water until it covers your shoulders. The sound around you changes, becoming more muffled, more intimate, like listening to the echo of your own pulse inside your bones. A stillness settles over you, not the stillness of emptiness, but the stillness of alignment. The river no longer feels like something outside of you. It feels like something you have been returning to for years without knowing its name. As you surrender fully to the current, you see another version of yourself approaching, not younger this time, but older, wiser, a version of you who has already crossed the threshold you stand at now. Their eyes hold a knowledge you long for, calm, grounded, steady. They reach out first, placing a hand upon your chest. The touch is light, but the effect is profound. A surge of warmth flows into you, expanding through your ribs, spreading through your entire torso, until it feels as though your heart has doubled in size. This future self does not speak with words. They speak through feeling, through presence, through the silent transmission of truth. The truth is simple. You were never meant to abandon yourself. The truth is gentle. You did the best you could. The truth is powerful. You are allowed to return. As you absorb this truth, the river rumbles beneath you, not with threat, but with approval. The current intensifies, swirling around your waist in spirals of light. You feel the pull of transformation rising from your feet, traveling through your legs, your spine, your throat. Every part of you feels as though it is being rewritten, old code dissolving, replaced by something softer, brighter, more aligned with who you truly are. Imagine ink in water, slowly dispersing until it becomes indistinguishable from the light around it. That is what happens to your pain now. Not erased, but integrated. Not denied, but understood. The river absorbs every fragment of shame you release, turning each one into clarity. Every doubt dissolves into warmth. Every harsh thought melts into acceptance. You watch these shifts occur not as concepts, but as physical sensations, cooling where guilt once burned, warming where fear once froze you. You begin to feel lighter, as though your very skeleton has shed a weight you carried since childhood. The river deepens its reversal, pulling you further into the territory where healing becomes transformation. You are no longer simply the person who suffered. You are becoming the person who survived, and then the person who transcends. The gatekeeper appears again, but this time they do not stand at a distance. They walk across the water toward you, each step sending ripples of gold across the surface. When they stop before you, the river stills completely. Silence wraps around you like a cocoon. You feel a presence behind the silence, an ancient intelligence waiting for your permission to proceed. The gatekeeper lifts their hand and touches your forehead. The river erupts in light. It surges upward in spirals, swirling around your body like a column of liquid starlight. Every cell in your body seems to awaken at once, vibrating with a frequency you have not felt in years, if ever. It is the sensation of becoming, of rewriting, of returning to the blueprint your soul chose before the world taught you to forget. Old identities fall away like petals dropped from a flower. The river gathers them, dissolves them, turns them into shimmering dust that scatters into the sky. You feel your chest open, your breath deepen, your energy rise like a tide at the full moon. This is not symbolic, it is somatic. Your nervous system rewires itself beneath the surface of your awareness. Your subconscious accepts new truth where old wounds once lived. Your heart beats in a new rhythm, slower, deeper, stronger. Tonight, you are not waiting. Tonight, you are becoming. As the river calms, as the light softens around you, as your body sinks into a state of deep rest, you feel the truth settle into your bones. Self-forgiveness is not the end of healing. It is the beginning of freedom. Long before you were born, before your name was spoken for the first time, before the life you know unfolded into the shape it holds now, there was a place hidden deep within the folds of time, an ancient temple constructed at the source of every human memory. Few have ever found it. Fewer still have entered. And only those who are ready to release the weight of self-judgment are allowed to see what lies within. It is said that this temple does not stand in any physical land. It exists only in the moment a soul finally becomes willing to return to itself. Tonight, as you drift in the reversing river, carried by currents older than the world you walk in, you feel the water around you slow. The glow beneath the surface grows brighter, shifting from silver to a deep amber light that seems to pulse with a heartbeat of its own. The river narrows, curving into a corridor that feels less like a path and more like a memory. The water rises and begins to lift you, gently, as though carrying you towards something it has long waited to reveal. Ahead of you, emerging through the mist that hovers above the water, is a massive stone archway. It is carved with symbols you recognize but cannot name, shapes that feel familiar in the way dreams sometimes resemble a forgotten childhood. Vines of light curl around the arch, illuminating it from within. The river slows to a stillness so complete that even your breath seems to echo through the air. You step forward, water dripping from your skin, and when your foot touches the ground, you realize you have crossed onto land that feels both solid and impossibly weightless. This is the temple of the river that remembers. The entrance is silent. No wind moves through the air. No flames flicker. No voices speak. And yet the silence is alive, dense, as though holding the collective memory of every soul that has ever stood where you now stand. You move forward. The floor beneath your feet is smooth, warm, shaped from stone that feels almost like skin, alive, listening, attentive. At the center of the entry hall stands a pillar carved from translucent crystal. Inside it, a faint current of water flows upward instead of down, glowing with the same reversed motion you felt within the river. The sight of it sends a tremor of recognition through your body. Before you can approach, a figure steps from behind the pillar, emerging from the shadows with a grace so fluid it resembles the movement of water itself. It is the gatekeeper. But here, within the temple, they appear different, taller, radiating a soft, golden aura that outlines their form like sunlight through smoke. Their eyes hold centuries of compassion. They say nothing, yet you feel their presence speaking directly into the back of your mind. With a small gesture, they beckon you to follow. You obey. The interior of the temple opens into a vast chamber lit by floating orbs of light that drift like stars trapped in slow motion. Water flows through channels carved into the stone walls, but not in straight lines. It twists upward in spirals, defying gravity, shimmering in coils of liquid illumination. The channels converge into a single pool in the center of the room, so still and reflective that it appears to be a mirror rather than water. The gatekeeper stands beside the pool and extends a hand. Slowly, the water begins to ripple, forming an image. You see yourself, not as you are now, not as you were in the memory the river showed you earlier, but as a version of you standing at a crossroads. This version of you is exhausted, weighed down by choices that carve deep grooves into the soul. Their shoulders are slumped. Their gaze is distant. They carry a burden that is not visible, but unmistakable. You watch as this past self kneels at the edge of a river that flows forward, its currents heavy with memories and unresolved pain. They look into the water, seeing reflected not just their face, but every mistake they ever believed defined them. You feel their grief as though it were your own. You remember that moment even if you cannot name it. The gatekeeper moves their hand and the image shifts. You see the same past self again, but now they are holding something in their hands, a small stone etched with a symbol that glows faintly. The symbol represents the oldest agreement you ever made with yourself, an agreement formed in a moment of fear. You realize that this stone has remained within you for years, shaping your reactions, your emotions, your beliefs. The gatekeeper moves their hand once more. The past self drops the stone into the river. At first, nothing happens. Then, slowly, the river begins to twist, turning in upon itself before reversing its flow. The current pulls backward, rising like a spiral of light. The water glows, the weight lifts, and the past self rises too, their shoulders unburdened, their stance stronger, their eyes clear. You understand now. This is the moment your healing began. Not tonight, but the first time your soul whispered that you deserved forgiveness, even if you did not yet know how to give it. The gatekeeper touches the surface of the pool, and the image dissolves. The room grows brighter. The orbs of light descend, encircling you like a constellation forming around a planet. The air hums. The walls shimmer. A doorway appears. Its frame is carved from the same translucent crystal as the pillar in the entry hall. The river beyond it flows upward in a luminous column. The gatekeeper gestures for you to step through. When you do, you are enveloped in warmth, suspended within a corridor of rising water that moves like a living elevator of light. You ascend. The corridor empties into a chamber at the top of the temple. There, on a stone pedestal, lies a scroll, old, brittle, wrapped in a ribbon of silver thread. The gatekeeper approaches it with reverence, lifting it in both hands before offering it to you. When you touch the scroll, it unravels on its own, revealing symbols written in a language you do not consciously know but instinctively recognize. As you read, the words seem to translate themselves directly into your bloodstream. The scroll whispers, "The code is clay, not stone." You feel the truth ripple through you like a shockwave of warmth. Your identity is not fixed. Your story is not final. Your past is not a sentence. It is clay, malleable, shapeable, rewritable through self-forgiveness. The river reverses not to erase the past, but to return you to the moment you lost yourself, so you may gather the parts that were left behind. The gatekeeper places a hand on your shoulder. For the first time, they speak, not with their mouth, but with a voice that fills the entire chamber. You are the river. You are the source. You are the return. The chamber dissolves. The temple dissolves. The scroll dissolves. You feel water rising around you, carrying you back into your body, into your breath, into the river where this journey began. You drift on the surface, held by currents that glow with the memory of everything you have reclaimed. And as you sink deeper into sleep, you feel the message settle into your cells. The river remembers what you forgot. And tonight, it has returned you to yourself. The night has grown quiet around you now. The river has settled into a steady glow, warm and familiar, as though it has taken the exact shape of your breath. Everything feels softer. Everything feels slower. Everything feels as though it has finally come home. And in this stillness, you begin to feel the gentle pull of sleep rising through your body like a tide, inviting you to surrender, inviting you to rest. You have traveled far tonight, farther than memory, farther than emotion, farther than the versions of yourself you once believed were final. You have walked through currents of old pain and watched them dissolve into light. You have met your past self and held them with compassion. You have stood in the temple where identity becomes clay, and you have heard the truth spoken not to your mind, but to your soul. The truth that you are allowed to return. As you lie here now, sinking deeper into the warmth of your own breath, feel the river continue to work within you. Its current is gentle, but powerful. It moves through your spine like a ribbon of golden water. It flows through your chest, soothing every place that ever tightened against itself. It moves through your throat, softening the words you could never say. It flows behind your eyes, washing away the images you carried for too long. Slowly, quietly, lovingly, the river rewrites you. You are safe. You are safe. You are safe. Let these words settle into your bones. Let them sink into the quiet spaces behind your thoughts. Let them echo through the chambers of your subconscious until your entire being begins to trust them. You no longer need to brace for pain that is not coming. You no longer need to hold stories that were never meant to define you. You no longer need to carry the weight of a past that has already been transformed by your willingness to forgive. You are chosen. You are chosen. You are chosen. Not by chance, not by accident, but by the simple truth that your soul was ready. Ready to stop punishing itself. Ready to stop running. Ready to step into the river and remember the light that was always yours. The universe did not bring you here to test you. It brought you here to return you to yourself. Take a slow breath. Let it rise. Let it fall. Let every part of your body rest in this moment. Feel how your cells respond. Feel the weight lifting from your muscles. Feel your heartbeat slowing into a rhythm that feels ancient, familiar, steady. This is the rhythm of someone who has released what no longer belongs to them. This is the rhythm of someone who has reclaimed their own energy. This is the rhythm of someone who is finally free. You are the author of your reality. You are the river that reverses. You are the light that returns. Allow these truths to dissolve into your subconscious, where they will continue to shape the landscape of your life long after your waking mind has fallen asleep. Healing is not a moment. It is a quiet unfolding. And tonight, that unfolding has already begun inside you, moving through your dreams like a soft current of gold. Sleep now. Sleep deeply. Sleep without fear. The river is still flowing backward, carrying every old burden away from your future, returning every fragment of your power back into your body. With every breath you take, the river rewrites a little more. With every beat of your heart, the past releases a little further. You are drifting on a current of your own becoming, carried gently into the version of yourself that has always been waiting. And as you surrender fully to this rest, feel the final truth whisper itself into your mind. You are remembered. You are forgiven. You are home. And as you drift into sleep, the story continues within you.